And through going through challenges and difficulties and pain and learning about my own self, I realized this is who I am and I have to share this with people. And it's all linked. And that's why I feel so strongly about emotions, because how we feel on a daily basis really shapes the reality of our life. So when I say consciously aware or being consciously aware, firstly, being aware of your own self and your own darkness and being honest about, okay, this is who I am and you are love. What you're seeking is within you. And I was like, and that's it. Like that, literally, that moment kind of defined everything for me. Because we only attract how we feel about ourselves. If we feel about ourselves like we hate ourselves, we attract a lot of hate.
Hi everyone, I'm Camilo Torres, and welcome again to Flow Community Podcast. In here, we're going to have amazing conversation with the beautiful people that has joined our community. We're going to get a lot of inspirations for their life journeys, passions, creations, because we believe that when you share your unique story, you can inspire others. So please enjoy this new episode. And also, I would love to invite you to join our community. And if you would like to be part of the podcast, please go to our website, flowwithcommunity.com. Thank you. So please welcome Sadaf Fatima. Hi, Sadaf.
Hi.
How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. You?
Thank you so much. I'm good. Thank you. And thank
Good.
you so much for being part of the community and for this lovely podcast that we're about to do.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the conversation that flows today.
Thank you. And yeah, and I love that. I mean, we had a conversation before this podcast, and I love your story in terms of that you were in the investment banking industry before, and now you are a coach and an emotional healer. But I would love to hear that story from you and how's that journey started. And
Yeah, sure. So you just make sure. Yeah, it's fine. I've been working in investment bank and in financial industry for a number of years. I started my career in that. And but I always felt this disconnection with the where I was. My thought was that for me to be happy, I have to be successful and I have to make a lot of money. So that's how I went on the path of investment banking and working for investment banks. But I felt more unhappy and more unhappy and more unhappy as I was being promoted, going higher and higher in terms of the ladder, but feeling worse and worse.
Mhm.
So that's when it really started. I would say in 2019, I felt like I need to do something different, and I have to. There's something within me wants to do something. Like there's something wants to come out of me, and I was sick and tired of being in this space of consistently um, wanting to get somewhere and not getting there. And it was just like a hamster wheel. You're like going round and round in circle and not feeling like what is this thing that I'm looking for, and I'm feeling so unhappy regardless of the money. And I felt so small in that, even though the highest position I was going into, the smallest I felt.
Wow.
So then I realized, I was like, this is not for me. I'm not meant to do this. And I started documenting my thoughts and what was coming to me with all the challenges of life I went through throughout my life, not just after I started working for any banks or anything like that. It was just a lot of personal difficulties and challenges, trauma, abuse that kind of for making me feel really unhappy about everything. I felt like there's so much more I had, and I was not breaking free. So I felt constrained in a box, and I felt like there's something more in me that needs to come out of me. And the only way I found out is by consistently expressing myself through videos, through speaking my truth, through connecting to myself. And that's how I started this journey of as a coach and emotional healing expert, because I felt like this strong feeling of emotions are everything, and we have to learn through that. And I've been very sensitive, like I grew up a very sensitive child. I didn't know that I had this empathy, and that empathic nature made me even hypersensitive to other people's emotions. So I started, as I was growing, I started feeling other people's emotions in my body, but I was not aware.
Mm-hmm.
I was unaware of how I was feeling. I was unaware that I was embodying other people's pain in me because of my intuition and because of being hypersensitive. Um, and that brought a lot of suffering for me, unconsciously. I was unaware. And when I became aware, that's when I realized that's why I was suffering, because I had this gift I was unaware of. And through going through challenges and difficulties and pain and learning about my own self, I realized this is who I am, and I have to share this with people. And I have this gift of healing, and I have to utilize that in the best way possible. So
Wow.
yeah,
Thank you so for sharing that.
yeah,
And I love like everything you say, and I love like emotions are very important to
mm,
consider. And I think this world and our civilization, it's created by not listening to your emotions and just
mm,
going and continue do.
yeah,
And I love that. But I have a question for you. During your process and when you were working in the investment banking, what makes you click? What makes you say, okay, enough? And what makes you start at recording or expressing yourself? Like, what was the breaking point from that?
yeah. Great question. The breaking point was really feeling that knowing that inner knowing that this is not for me, but
Okay.
not being able to take the action to really go all into through what I'm feeling with my intuition. So the breaking point really came to me when I there was a huge gap between how I was feeling and what was happening outside of me. So the outside of me had to be the worst and the worst for me to listen to myself. So
Wow.
it
Okay.
became so difficult working for a corporate or an institution. The environment became so difficult that I had no choice to but to listen to myself.
Interesting.
And I think I was quite stubborn in terms of knowing within I knew that this is who I am, but I was like not ready to embrace that.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, let me try more. Let me go to another level, have more success, or apply for different job, or apply for get promoted. Maybe something will change. And the more I was doing that, the worse I was feeling. And the breaking point came when it became unbearable. Like my soul was like complete in resistance to my reality. It was like, this is not you. This is not you. Like
Wow.
I literally could hear myself, and I started getting sick physically. I started feeling sick, and I was like, this is like, I can't do this anymore. This is it. And I was like, I didn't know how to. I didn't launch my business. I didn't. I was already working with my people and voluntarily helping, coaching, and doing YouTube. That was all happening, but I was not like making money out of it or doing anything. I was just. It was more like a passion project, and I was just doing that. But then when I felt such a strong calling, like it felt like Sadaf, this is it. Like it was like such a strong voice, and I quit my job without knowing how that's going to go and where I'm going to go and how I'm going to launch. no plans, and I was like, this is it, and I quit my job, and then I started this journey of officially coaching and healing, and things started happening after I quit. I I quit last year in June, and I was kind of called for to be interviewed for an article by August, and it was not like I didn't ask for it. It just happened. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like as soon as I left and I listened to my intuition, the universe started, giving me all the clue that this is the right path, and things have started happening. The article, like this, I had a article in Global Women magazine, and it wasn't something I asked for. It just happened. And then my YouTube started growing rapidly after that. So it just became confirmation that this is the path, and things just started working in my favor, and things just started flowing easily and effortlessly. And I was like, why did I take so long to understand? But it had to take that long for me to completely get and have that clarity and conviction within me to lead this journey with complete certainty. And I think I needed that certainty for me to kind of move forward.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
super nice, and
yeah,
wow, and what story! And I love that. Well, going back to how you were feeling and the emotions, like your body, you were getting sick
mm,
because you were not letting your emotions, or you went that. I think because one of the things that I have discovered in my journey as well is like the body is also a acts reacts of if you're not right
yeah,
emotionally,
mm,
and if you're not in the right path as well. So
sure,
I think it's nice, and I love that you listen on your intuitions, and I think we all need to
yeah,
listen at the intuitions
absolutely, yeah,
to go to
yeah.
the right path.
Yeah, and great point. And I think a body really, when we are physically sick, and we say we are like there's a disease in our body, some sort of a disease, and disease really is dis-ease. You are
Mm-hmm.
having dis-ease in your body that is creating that disease, that illness, that sickness, because you're not completely one with yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. You have suppressed yourself and your emotion for so long to be stuck in this dis-ease, and being stuck in dis-ease for years and years creates a lot of sickness and
Mm-hmm.
illness physically. So yeah,
That's interesting, and I think it's very important to highlight that because
yeah,
some people, I mean, from my case,
mm-hmm.
it was very different. I didn't got sick, but it
Yeah,
was like the universe telling me no, that's not the path,
mm,
and for me discovering the right path. And I'm still discovering. I think we all still in the journey
yeah,
of purpose of
yeah,
life, and but then when you listen your intuition, when you listen your emotions, then the universe opens and
yeah.
gives you opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely, agreed. And yeah, and that's how I feel. I feel like when we start listening to ourselves, and the world is very distracting, right? We have been given so much in terms
Mm-hmm.
of the AI technology, social media,
Mm-hmm.
mobile, a smartphone, and it is all designed to make to make us disconnect with ourselves. Yeah, we are very connected with the world, but we are very disconnected with ourselves. And because of all this distraction, it creates this loss in identity as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know who we are, and we keep following people and comparing with people, and we're like, okay, this is, or they are living their best life, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
living. Then you start comparing, then you're feeling more, uneasy, and having that feeling in your body that you're not worthy and you're not enough, and that creates more dis-ease, and it's all linked. And that's why I feel so strongly about emotions, because how we feel on a daily basis really shapes the reality of our life, and how we show ourselves in the world. Because how we feel, if we feel very insecure and we very anxious, that's what is going to show up for
Mm-hmm.
us in our reality. People will react to our anxiety, and that creates more anxiety.
And then I guess that attracts as well.
Yeah, that attracts.
Whatever your emotions are, that
That's
attracts.
what you attract.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I can talk about that because for long, I became a student of myself. I've learned about, like, I've done a PhD on my own self, really, because I was so curious about who I am and why I am feeling in a certain way in front of certain people, why certain people bring certain emotions in me. And I realized, like, I believe in energy, I believe in vibration, frequency. I feel like it's so important to understand that most people don't. um, so initially, when I was in a darker place in my life, and like I was saying, that I have worked on myself so much, I've learned about myself
Mhm.
so much, and literally done a PhD of on my own emotion and my being. I realized that when I was in a darker place, my energy my was very low, so I
Mm.
was in low vibration, and my reality, the world was reflecting that. I was
Right.
meeting people with the similar energy, and I would get so triggered by it. It's like, why these people are mean, or they are horrible, and why things are happening in that way. It took me a while to understand the concept of energy and vibration, that how important it is to, first of all, change your environment and work on yourself to release all those negative energies, to elevate your energy, to be in a higher space, to attract. That's when you attract, that's when your world mirrors your inner world,
Mhm.
because and that's what changes things for ourselves. When you are on a higher frequency, higher vibration, you can meet people on that level, and then the reality reflects that, and you're like, oh, okay. So I did not know that. And I give this really good concept of, which I feel like so easy to understand, is the radio.
Mhm.
Radio has a different frequency. So same as our energy. So there all sorts of people exist in this world, the lowest and the lowest energy and the higher frequency. It's all in this dimension. It exists, but it's up to you what you tune into. So
Mhm.
similar to radio, like there's all sorts of radio station exist, but you can only hear the one you tune into. That's how energy, I feel like, works. Is you can be in the same world and you can have a completely different perspective, and the view of the world, like beautiful,
Mhm.
amazing people, loving people. But somebody who is complete darkness and despair, they would see the world as dark and horrible and terrible place. So that's a great kind of understanding in terms of understanding our own energy and vibration, and how important it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and completely agree with you. And I think first working knowing ourselves is so important. And I have also been in a journey of doing a PhD of
Oh, it's
myself.
awesome.
And it's so, like what you say, where it's completely agree, is like when you understand your emotions, your body, your thinking, your mindset as well, everything will will you will attract, but
Yeah,
also you will reflect, you will create your reality.
absolutely.
So it's that's important. But then with that, I wanted to ask you questions. So how important, or what it's being consciously aware for you, like
Yeah.
what that, and because it's very related for that, like
Mm.
knowing ourselves. But yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about why you think about being uh,
Yeah.
consciously aware.
Consciously aware. Yeah, I feel being consciously aware really means is being aware of your own darkness, your own demons, being aware of your own insecurities, your limitations, and
Hmm.
being able to work through those, and being the observer of those demons and darkness, because we all have. I think first we have to acknowledge it, that we do have it, And because of our own life and what we've learned from other people and the environment we lived in. So when I say consciously aware or being consciously aware, firstly being aware of your own self and your own darkness, and being honest about, okay, this is who I am and how I can work through that to release those. And I really like this quote. I love this quote. I don't know who written it, but I love it. It says, "If there are no enemies within, enemy outside cannot harm you." So when you let go of your inner enemies, nobody else can hurt you. And for me, being consciously aware of your own inner enemies and learning to let go and release and heal those, so that you become aligned to your truest version, your authentic version, and being able to express that fully is what I feel being consciously aware. And when you become aware of yourself, you become aware of the world too.
Yeah, I love everything that you said, and I love that you. I mean, of course, knowing ourselves in terms of the good things, but also on our demons, and I guess that is very related with traumas that we have,
Yeah.
and yeah, our insecurities, and it's so important to be aware of them
Yeah.
and work on them, and slowly, yeah, and when you're out there, then because you know so much yourself, then whatever the other people say about you is like, okay, good
Yeah.
for you.
It doesn't trigger
It
you,
doesn't exactly.
because you become so aware of your own self that what others say become irrelevant, because you realize everything what other people are saying is their own self projection.
Mhm.
It's not your truth, it's their truth, and they are projecting their truth on you, and projecting their judgment on you. It doesn't really talk about you, it talks about them. And when you understand that deeply, you don't take anything personally. You're like, okay.
100%. I think I've been in that journey as well,
Yeah.
and then, of course, I think it's a journey that you never end, because knowing yourself, it's you develop, you evolve as well,
Yeah.
every day, every year, and every hour, I guess, and then anyway, but then I know now, like I'm aware of that, of like the others. I love them because I love myself. I love everyone, and then I respect
Yeah.
whatever they say, and I say, wow, interesting, whatever they say, but it's their own. They are in their own journey, and I
Yeah.
think I respect
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you detach yourself from that. You completely
exactly.
detach, because and it's not an easy thing to do, but when you start becoming aware, like become conscious about yourself and the world and everything else, you became aware of the truth of what other people are saying and doing. It's really about them, really about them. And yeah, you kind of learn to detach and be non-attached to others' perception and judgment, and makes your life so easy and light, because you're not attached to others. You don't need a validation from anybody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. And I mean, talking about the journeys, I feel like this while we were talking, and your journey is so special. Um, as well, have you had a spiritual w- journey as well started, and how that looks for you,
Yeah.
and when did you start that?
Yeah. I didn't know that I am spiritual, or I have this, like, my family is very religious,
Mm-hmm.
but I never followed anything. So, like, I would listen to my mom and do the ritual thing that she expect me to do, but it wasn't. There was no awareness. I would just you just mindlessly do what your parents tell you,
Uh-huh.
and I became spiritually awake. I had a spiritual awakening in 2019.
Mm.
At that moment, I didn't know that was a spiritual awakening, because I never kind of knew about that word even. But I I had a moment. Actually, it was June 2019, so 5 years ago. Um, I was working for investment banks, um, making good money. But personally, like within me, I felt so much in pain. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
so much pain within me. I felt like there was a blocks that I cannot express myself. Felt so restricted because of the challenges that I've gone through with my personal life and things that have happened that made me feel like there was so much pain. Like nothing was making me happy, and I was in this despair, in this darkness. And there's also a phrase called dark night of the soul, where basically means it's not just about going through depression or anything like that. It just means everything feels wrong, like everything feels like collapsing. You are in complete darkness. And I remember I was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Could not sleep, and I was feeling very upset in London. Um, and I was like, "What am I doing? My family is in India. What am I doing here? Like, I'm working so hard, but for who?" Like, there was all these
Mm.
questions like coming up, and it just felt so like I was like my mind would not be able to take more pain. Like I was in that space, and then suddenly there was this shower of peace came upon me. Like there was this like the brain switched off. Like there was like a switch which turned either
Wow.
on or off, I don't know, but it was just like peace. And I was like because your mind is like there's so much going on,
Always,
so much
yeah.
going on, so much
A
going,
lot of
and there
voices.
was like drop silence in my mind. And I was like, oh, what happened? And I was questioning, like there's no love, and I was like nobody loves me, and I was in that space, like there was so much despair in me. And then there was this voice came to me like, you are love. The what you're seeking is within you. And I was like, and that's it. Like that literally that moment kind of defined everything for me. I was like, oh, what I'm seeking is within me. And yeah, and that's when my spiritual journey started. That was like, oh, then I actually heard something that I never heard before, and it just came to me at that moment. Like, and that's where I started kind of learning about myself, and this journey of spirituality
Mm.
came through, and started becoming aware of this guidance, because I always seek guidance from other people. Like I have nobody to guide me,
Mhm.
nobody to help me. How do I do? I don't have any like somebody to help me. But I realize I am my guidance, and this inner guidance from God Creator that came to me. So yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said, and um I think it's very related with my also personal experience. And I love that you said that love is the power, and love, like, it's because today, actually today, before this podcast, I was talking about love as
Right.
well.
Okay.
And I think the journey of love is
Yeah.
so wonderful, and I love that you relate love with the spirituality,
Yes.
because it's so important. And I think we all need to be aware of that. And then love is, it starts within you.
Mm.
And this is, I think, I've been in this love, in this journey of love. But then, to start that journey, you need to start knowing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
loving yourself,
Yeah.
accepting who you are. Then you connect
Mm.
a lot with universe, God, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
And then you become so much love, and everything opens to you. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I think I got very
Goosebumps.
yeah, like and it's a shame because we I had to cut a little bit, but I was like, wow, this is incredible what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah. And it's such a revelation, because you think that love is outside of you, and You have to gain love from people, people's
Mm-hmm.
validation. People need to accept you. People need to love you. That's when you are enough. But when you learn that you are love and you are in that energy of love, that's when you attract love from other people, because we only attract how we feel about ourselves. If we feel about ourselves like we hate ourselves, we attract a lot of hate, and people reflect that. And then we feel this misery within ourselves, thinking we are not lovable, or we are
Mm-hmm.
not, we are unloved, and we are not accepted, or we are not good enough. um, and that creates a lot of doubt and you know challenges. But when you realize you are the one who is love and light, it shifts, everything shifts.
100%. And I think the view of the world from
Mm,
yours from you change as well,
yeah,
and you see everything, and you start respecting people as
yeah,
well, and respecting where you live, like this planet, and respecting your environment, and everything change.
yeah,
Like for me, like yeah, 100%. I
yeah.
completely understand. Because I've been, I think it's the question was special, and I think my spiritual
Yeah,
journey
talk to me about your journey.
start from my dad passed away in COVID.
Sure.
It was very very hard, but then mm, started to starting like finding love within me,
Mm.
and then from that, here I am, and still in that
Wow.
journey,
Yeah,
because I think we never finished that
yeah,
journey.
yeah. Amazing.
I never.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much
Yeah.
for this lovely topic. Right, and then okay, going back to the emotional health.
Mm.
How important do you think we need to work on that, and yeah, and how important is for us for our evolution?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most misery that comes into our life, most difficulties and challenges comes into our life is through suppressing our emotions. So the way to learn about your own emotions and learning about your own self is so important. And I feel like we do not talk about it enough to really realize that the reason we are suffering because we have suppressed ourselves
Hmm.
so much to fit in a box, so much that has created all sorts of problems, mental health issues, physical health issues, all autoimmune diseases, depression, all sorts of stuff, because we have put ourselves in this box to fit in.
Hmm.
And I feel when you are born to stand out, and when you are so unique, God has created you so unique and with a lot of abilities, by us trying to conform ourselves in a box is put us in this space, um, and mainly because we are not fully expressing ourselves. And when we have this self expression of
Hmm.
being completely expanded version of ourselves, like completely owning our truth, our being, that's when you can really find your path, your calling, your purpose, your passion. But we get into this box because of the collective belief of the world, consciousness and awareness of the world, and we believe we have to be in a certain way to be accepted. Then we live in that misery. And the way to kind of free ourselves is to release all this suppressed emotion, release all the trauma, all the limitation, all the excuses, all the stories, to become aligned to our true self, to have that self expression that God has given us. And that's why we are born here, to express ourselves fully. Um, yeah,
I love
that's
that.
why.
I love that. And connecting with that, because this is so well connected. Do you think creativity helps with our emotional health? And I think you answered that question a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I feel like being creative is really, it's a flow energy, right? Because when you are flowing, that's when the magic happens. And you flow when you are in a creative space, because mind doesn't stop. It keeps, there's a chatterbox like going on and on and on. When we are creative, whatever aspect, whatever version of creativity you choose, we are in our body, we are connected to ourselves, we are expressing ourselves through that. And yeah, for me it is, when we fully expressing ourselves through our creativity, it definitely helps us to be more closer to ourselves, help us to free ourselves from our suppressed emotion, and really it allows us to also connect to our intuition and guidance, because that's when you flow.
100%. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you. I have nothing to add. It's so special what you said, and
Yeah.
I'm completely agree with that. Right. To finish our amazing podcast, and I'm sure we're going to have other podcasts
I'm
together.
sure. Yeah.
We have so much
Yeah.
to share, and you
Yeah.
have so much to
Yeah.
share. I would like to ask you three questions. These three questions you can answer with one word or one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And here they are. So, what is creativity for you?
Creativity for me is speaking my truth and expressing myself fully, being in full self expression, and without any judgment, without any doubt, and owning my voice, myself fully. And that's, for me, that's what being creative, being in that flow. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think what you said before is letting your emotions out.
Yeah.
And that's so special.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
yourself. You express yourself,
Yeah.
and that's where creativity and magic
Yeah.
happens.
Magic
I love
happens.
it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. The second question is, what is your current creative expression?
My current creative expression, I feel that through videos, through creating content, I express myself fully. Like I said, I am someone. My truth, speaking my truth, is my create aspect of creativity. Being aligned with my true self and expressing my awareness and consciousness and insights with the world is the way I express my creativity. But I also believe creativity is um, God's light in action,
Mm.
because you are expressing your light, your unique abilities that God has given you through your creativity. So to add to that, what I said is completely being aligned to that light and expressing through this action of sharing my voice with the world, and what I have within me to share with that world is something I feel like that's my expression of my own journey, my own path, and allowing and letting people to see that, because the light that I have within me is the light that you have within you.
Mm-hmm.
And by me expressing my light to you, you be able to see your own light. That's the intention. So that's what I say in my YouTube video: may the light in me reaches the light in you, because I truly feel that we all have this light, but because of all the suppression of emotions, we lose that. And it's for me to kind of express myself fully so that you see your light.
Wow, love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing my light through your light. Your light is very beautiful. Yes,
Thank you.
100%. And to the last one is, what flow means for you? Flow as the word.
Flow is, for me, flow is, I think it's all connected, creativity and flow for me. Like I said, God's light in action.
Mm-hmm.
And flowing for me is like letting go of anything that's happening in our mind and connecting to ourself and expressing ourselves fully and flowing. Because when you're flowing, you are not thinking, you are just being. And I think for me, flow is being in the energy of your own self, and that being expressed through you, because we are vessel, we are the spiritual being having the human experience. So flow allows us to connect to our spirit, our soul, and our being, and being in that light and energy, and being in this expression of ourself to connect to others, and being aligned to that being of ourself, our soul, our spirit. That's what flows
Love
to me.
it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah,
very special.
yeah.
Love it. And where people can find your YouTube channel and where people can find you.
Yeah, so my YouTube is Sadaf Heals, because healing is such a big aspect of everything I do. And I love working with people and being able to help them see their light and see their truth, by releasing all these lies of the world that they have bought into, and those limitations, and free themselves from that. So Sadaf Heals on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and thank you so much for everything you share.
Thank you for inviting me. I loved it.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening. Bye.